roll that beautiful bean footage. Hello, people of the internet. I'm gonna get back to work today on the Beetle. My goal is to try to get this thing ready for paint as soon as possible so I can get it sprayed. I have to get this looking like this. If you're new and you like to get caught up, this guy right here is Ragnar, my 1969 Volkswagen Beetle that I am going to give away to one of you once I am done semi-restoring it. I say semi because it's getting modified too. Anyway, if you're new, up above my head is not a link to the last video on the Beetle that will fill you in, rather a wonderful website on purchasing pajamas for your pigeons. Magnet sucking device. Tape, like that. That should do. Yeah. The car, now this bodywork, is covered in what's called polyester primer with a built-in guide coat. That's why it's pinkish. This large Twinkie looking motherfucker is a Durablock. It's sticky so that this paper right here, sandpaper, this is 150 grit. Got a rubber band. Fancy. That's also sticky and it's made in Canada, like maple syrup. Yeah, that looks like a workbench. There. Nothing like a good slapping. I really should have cleaned that off first. I mean, it's stuck on there good enough. I'm gonna end up using it fast. This little magnetized vacuum attachment will make sense in a second. I'm not gonna turn it on yet. I just wanna demonstrate and show you the purpose of this polyester primer. As I sand it, you can see it's starting to turn a light gray, the color of primer. That's the built-in guide coat. That effectively lets me know where I've sanded, but also where the high and low spots are because of the different coloration in the primer. Now, this stuff is fairly high build, which means there's a lot of material to the primer, so it should help hide any previous sand scratches or minor defects that were in the bodywork underneath the polyester. Ah, man. Got makeup all over the inside of it. The best effective way to sand this out so you get the flattest panel surface possible is the reason why this block is so long. So you're gonna use the long portion of the block in a diagonal crotch face pattern, so that way you don't miss any spots, and it also evens out any low and high spots in this polyester primer. This stuff's a lot of work. It takes quite a bit of elbow grease to sand out this stuff. So I did one panel just to kind of give you an idea. So this took about 15, 20 minutes or so to do. To give you examples of high spots, you can see right here where there's a little bit of bare metal showing, as well as right here along the door jamb. Now there was a little bit of a low spot where you could see a pink half moon from where there was a dent, but as I kept blocking that out, that's where the little high spot started to appear. Now, as far as the low spots go, it's hard to make out, but you can see a little bit of pink stippling right here, and then there's a big area of pink. And then right here, you can see it's a lighter gray. Well, that's because I kept blocking this area because I had these low spots, and then there started to appear a high spot right there. There's also a little bit of a low spot down at the bottom. So this has been going around for a little while now, the Upside Down playlist, but I've yet to actually listen to mine. And yeah, I got quite the wide variety of stuff in here. Like, it's kind of all over the place. It's 5:15 in the evening. I doubt you're able to read that. That time lapse was about 8 hours worth of work, and it equated to about 70% or so of my first initial pass with a 150 grit. I still gotta edge it though. That's the time consuming part. Hello, welcome to the following day. Guess what I get to do today? Sanding! It's a good looking pokey horse right there. Gonna do a camping trip with it next month. Back to work. How the fuck am I supposed to make like 20 hours worth of sanding this car into an entertaining video? Do you know how hard that would be? Stop and think for a second if you were the one with the camera and you had to try to entertain people sanding a car for 20 hours. Arts and crafts time. I'm going to take this 220 grit made in Canada maple syrup paper and make it into a tube. Stick this excess to the camera's tripod. How are you seeing this right now? Confusing. See these little areas right here that I can't get with the block? That's a challenging part to try to sand. I essentially used the Pareto principle to my benefit yesterday for filming this. But now I'm stuck with the remaining 20% that sucks. And I have to do it. It's the apparent smart way to do YouTube. Nope. The main and important part of doing the guide coat and using that big block is it's essentially chiseling the large areas that you look at when you look at a car's surface and you're like, oh, hey, this thing's got nice straight body panels, it's dent free. I suppose if you've ever painted a car before or have experience with bodywork, you would know where to look to see if corners were cut or how much effort was put into the paint job. I'm trying my best to do this like a full-on restoration grade paint job, even though this is a giveaway car. That is not gonna get itself done. I need to just shut up and work. So, roll that beautiful bean footage. All of the 150 grit now, other than the engine lid, I just realized I forgot that, is knocked out. It'll take a second. Now I gotta do a little trick to knock out these body lines. I will now allow my neighboring bodywork inspector to narrate as I do this process.
Essentially what Sarah's doing now is using 220 grit to start her training procedure for Bohemian Grove. Farm to table, organic, fresh produce. You know, the cooked end meal on your table was produced by this hard-working individual right here.
I opened myself up to that. Anyway, I will actually show you what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna take masking tape, I'm gonna run it along one side of the crease in this body line, right here. Doesn't have to be precise. I'm gonna step up to 220 grit because I gotta block out the whole car in 220 on top of the 150 I just did. Pull the tape up, just like that. What that allowed me to do is sand this upper portion nice and smooth without bumping down onto this lower portion and creating any little divots or sand scratches on here. My tape isn't right all the way down perfectly, and it doesn't really have to be because I'm gonna use the dupe tube. Where'd my sanding block go? Pull it off. Now I just gotta roll this guy up into a little tube to get the very center. I'm using super light pressure because I don't want to create any unnecessary sand scratches in this area. And just like that, it's ready for the next guide coat. Except I still have this huge one. You'll never guess what I'm gonna do today. Prepare to be amazed. Ta-da! I get to spend another entire day of my life sanding. Yay! This may be super labor intensive and tedious to do, but if done correctly, this will always look better than the best vinyl wrap job. I said it. Shots fired. Done. It's ready for me to apply guide coat, except I still have some more trim left to do. I put the tape around the window opening just because I already painted the dash and I don't want to accidentally slip somehow and scuff it. But I'm going to do this inner rail right here with 400 grit, since that's the final grit finish and you'll never see that. I still try to use the crisscross applesauce. Pat, I really want applesauce now. I'm getting lucky and it's just naturally concaving around the wiper hole. This little strip right here on the edge of the hood is the final bit I have to sand out before I can guide coat the car. That's it. And I'm gonna do that in a separate video because look, this is a lot of labor, all right? I can't make this all in one video. There's gonna be 2 sanding videos. There's no way around it. Now I know how Trevor from Motion Auto TV felt with the 30 sanding videos for the Supra. This is such a hard thing to do in film without cutting corners. I feel like that should be the rule of thumb to measure the quality of a paint job for an automotive YouTuber based on the number of sanding and bodywork videos in their project series, especially if it's only 1 or 2 people doing the work on the vehicle. Yee! Victory! No more! So that's it. The entire car is done in 150 grit, blocked out, with the edges done in 220, the exception of very fine edges around the windows. That will just get only done in 400 grit. No sense in trying to make those areas flat when they're in crevices. Now, some of you had asked what I'm doing about the inside of the wheel wells right here. That is getting all rubber undercoated, along with the door sills up to the first body line right there. From there down, that's why I didn't sand it and the paint's flaking off. That was never sanded, that's just overspray. Those are all getting rubber undercoated, that entire rail. Then I have a set of billet aluminum black anodized sill covers that are going on top of the painted portion. I know it's kind of a waste to paint that, but I just wanted it to be all uniform. And then as far as the suspension components go, I may end up powder coating these. I haven't made up my mind yet. They might get painted instead with DTM because it might be more durable. Hopefully that should be enough info to alleviate any questions you may have about the process of what I'm doing, what I have going on up inside here, and why I'm doing things the way I'm doing them. The area inside these little vents, there's also one on the front lid, that you would have to drill out the welds underneath here and cut that panel out to be able to paint and bodywork the inside of it. It's a super stupid design. I hate that they built it like that, but I have a little bit of a trick up my sleeve what I'm gonna do to those areas. Aside from that, I think the next video will be the last video of work before this thing is painted its final original body color of Toga white. I don't know why it's called white, because that's not white. That's more green than it is white. Even though these videos are a huge pain in the ass to film and try to make interesting because it's so much labor that I have to do this paint job correctly, it's worth it because the next car I build on my channel is gonna be one of my forever cars, something I don't intend on getting rid of, and I want to do a cradle to grave paint job on it and at least this will get some experience under my belt, except the fact that I'm not wearing one today. Anyway, I have to edit this video so that way you guys are actually watching it right now. So it's past tense, future tense. I don't know tense. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!